Boom, and we're live. And welcome to another ANTS meeting. How you doing tonight, my brother Daniel? How you doing?
Hey Tim, how are you? I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good, mate. I'm really good. Well, it's been an exciting couple of weeks since we last spoken. So I think the best place to sort of kick off with, and seeing you're here, my friend, is tell us about the Safe Exchange updates because you dropped
Yeah,
an update yesterday. So tell us more about that.
yeah. Maybe ideally I would just do a screen share and
Mm-hmm.
go real quick. Yeah, it's quite exciting. So here we go. Um, I just posted that screenshot. Very interesting move and made today. But anyway, so just right off the bat, we got a new team member, Max from Moscow, and he's an expert of Node and of front end development with Angular. So we're lucky to have his time for at the least next 3 months. He moves really fast. I thought we would need more time, but we have a pro. So here's a little glimpse of the user interface that we'll experience on this is the Safe Exchange. This is pretty much it becoming alive. SafeX development continues. We're building the crypto system for the coins, for the items, and the media objects so that we can escrow them out and do trades with them. So like you can make a coin and trade it for an item, or make a coin and trade it for a coin, or make a coin and trade it for media. And since it follows the similar structure to how SafeCoin is built, I'm sure we're going to have very interesting ways where we can do swaps between SafeCoin for the coins, coins for items, safe coins for items. You get the picture. Then another thing that was very interesting and I think fascinating to a lot of people is the voting. The fact that Bitcoin only lets you have up to 20 addresses inside of a multi-signature transaction means that you could only have 20 people participate in a vote, or more like, let's say we took owners of coins, we combined all their public keys, and then we had a multi-signature address. You put your money there, or the group puts their money there, then they vote where to spend this money, right? So with Bitcoin, we can't do that with more than 20. However, I confirmed with David, and I confirmed with reading the documentation. Obviously, on SAFEnetwork, we can do up to a few thousand owners within one data packet, and then we can link multiple data packets. So therefore, we have an virtually unlimited range of owners who can deal with spending of things on the SAFEnetwork. So I'm really glad to move past Omni, move past the blockchain, and just dive right into the structured data. And that's all we're focusing on as of the week that just passed. And since we've got that new team member, that's all we do from the week going forward. Yeah, it's going to be very, very nice to use this. It's going to be very fun and very secure and robust. So that's us. That's the dev update from Safe Exchange.
Well, while we're on that, tell us, expand more about the new coin, because that was a fascinating feature that you put up on you just sort of skip past it then. So sort of expand more about what that ability to create a new coin,
Yeah,
and what that will mean.
Yeah, that just means that how like an Omni coin, you can just put a name, make a quantity, and no one can make fake versions of that. So if you recall in the in the crowd sale, I was mentioning like obviously we can do any kind of coin. So like I said we'd have like a lumber coin, a coal coin. So I'm thinking like different kinds of coins could be possible with on the SAFEnetwork. So obviously we're dealing with SafeCoin, obviously, so we can trade SafeCoin for alternative coins and alternative coins for alternative coins, which I think is really interesting. It means it's like an asset is a coin for a physical good. So you can have a coin for ownership of some business or some ownership of some resource. You see what I mean? So that was kind of the premise of when I mentioned coal coin, lumber coin, carrot coin. These are just like little like just some idea like of what kind of resource coins could exist. Yep. So if you wanted to host your crowd sale, you can make a coin and sell that coin. It's not a problem. Directly right onto the exchange. You know, you don't have to deal with getting listed and stuff like that. So I think it's a feature a lot of people will find useful to them and various platforms. Yeah. Yeah, we won't have much friction, no middlemen, you know, interfering with your ability to list your coin and stuff like that. So it's quite amazing. I insist that it's quite amazing, in fact.
Well, I mean, people can go back on the record, and it's been put out in the public record that I've said from day one this was an epoch moment, and what you've the safe exchange was the massive shift in paradigm, because it, like you just said, the ability to have no middlemen in and having the ability to, like, for instance, I mean, I can take it very, you know, from a very personal angle, as you know. I mean, it's exactly what I'll aim to do when we do N99 seeds. I mean, it's exactly that idea, and the idea of no middlemen having to go through any trading platforms, and it's just, as I said, it's just an epoch moment, and it's so inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to add, it's very inspiring to actually see an idea that's gone from a concept to actually being, you know, foundationally be built, and it's very inspiring, Daniel.
Yeah. By the way, you know, I'm gonna throw up the screen share. Was you know, I did a repost. I noticed you put up the. I mean, I remember you were gonna launch this April 1st or something like that, and you know, and a lot of people were looking forward to it. But the seed sale. And man, this illustration is just so inspiring. It's such an inspiring illustration. You know, like it just gives me a very, very powerful feeling when I see that. You know, when I see this illustration, it's amazing. So, you know, if you don't mind, like, let's, you know, mention about the N99. Like, you know, what's going on? What's up with N99 right now? What's your plans?
Well, I just to begin with, I mean, I think exactly right. That image, Daniel, was exactly to, I think, where we are at the moment in this very paradigm shift, and it's breaking through walls. And in regards to N99, I will be announcing this week coming up that there will be, well, finally, and you know, for, like you said, many people ask me, there will be within the next 7 days, you'll be able to have your ability to actually come along and buy some seeds and actually hopefully crowdfund this project that we've been flying for 2 years. And like I say, the seed sale will be going up. You know, I'll be announcing it through your forum and through the SAFEX and stuff, and just generally in the next 7 days. And yeah, it's a chance, the ability for people I know have been supporting this project and general public out there to go along and get behind this, you know, this platform we've been building for a long time. And you know, so like I say, more details will be coming this week. I don't want to say too much, but you know, just to let you know that it's going to be a big week for us, because it's, you know, we've been doing this for a while now, so and leading to this very momentous point. So yeah,
Well,
we'll be in a, I'll make. I was just going to say, Daniel, I'll make sure I'll announce it on your SafeX forum, because it's, you know, like you said, it's been had a lot of interest on your forum and on the other ones, and so yeah, the time is getting close, and that's what's really inspiring at the moment, because there's some really we're getting closer and closer to where these actually can start to be accomplished. So yeah.
Yeah, I think so, that you paved a huge road, you know, and it seems like now it's, you know, the vehicles are gonna cross that road now, so it's quite exciting. You know, I'm glad to hear about it, glad to see about it.
Well, as I've always said, the whole drive this has always been from day one, Daniel, has always been the, you know, I just try to go away and just point, you know, and build something that I'm asked over and over and over again. And as you know, I'm a creative person myself, in the arts especially, but you know, this is something. This is a platform that's been asked. People have been asking me for a long time to go out and build this. And that's what I'm trying to say. That there's a whole paradigm shift that's about to go on. There's a lot of creative people out there that are very supportive of this, and it's not for myself I build this, it's for them. And that's what's going to be, I'm going to be very inspired to be watching what's going to go on in the next few months, because it's not going to be necessarily the tool getting you know, and then N99 itself getting built. What's going to be fantastic about it is going to be that tool in the hands of the creative, and hopefully seeing some of the people that are ignored currently right now, getting their moment and in a new paradigm. And to me, it's going to, as I said before, I use these words, and I don't hope, not, with every sincerity, it's going to hopefully release the shackles of a whole bunch of creative people who are shackled and tied at the moment, and give them that platform, that lift-off point where they can go out.
Yeah.
And the great thing about it is it's a win. The more people we can get to put content up, it means more people can go out and listen to this stuff and watch this stuff, which is more people using the SAFEnetwork, which is a win-win for everybody, because that's the whole objective of it has been from day one, is to get people onto the SAFEnetwork. And and N99 will always just be the platform that's going to give you the lift-off point, and it's there for creative people and it's there for everybody. And it's the main point as with all these projects, is just to get people aware of what's coming with the SAFEnetwork. And and the SAFEnetwork has almost been like a catalytic converter. It's a part of our armory. It's been, now we have it, and it's to make use of that, and it's going to change everything.
Well, of equal importance is people get to consume music on the platform that you've paved the road for. That's more importantly, in terms of N99, that I'd find is like, okay, now the content is secured on the SAFEnetwork. Now how do I consume it? Here we go, N99. That's the point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As I said before, Daniel, I'll be announcing more of the details this week about how people can get involved in it. And one, I think what's really, like I said, it's exciting times at the moment. But the great thing about it is that it's going to be able to really connect on a one-to-one level, which has never been done before, really, of connecting people to the audience and the creators to the audience in a way that's directly, as you said before, quite eruditely. No more middlemen, no more person sitting in the middle deciding what is liked and what isn't liked. This is direct people, and that is in itself is such a paradigm shift, because it works with the same principle works with everything. It's just taking away that barrier, and once we release that barrier, then we can, who knows where it's going to go to, but all we can do is release release the creativity and that's inside of people, release the barriers that stop people connecting to people. And that's what Safe Exchange has done. That's what the SAFEnetwork's about. That's what N99 about. That's what all these projects are all about. It's just to basically make the connect people, make people understand that you don't have to go through middlemen anymore.
Yeah.
Well, go on.
No, I agree. I'm very much looking forward to your sharing the details at your ease, of course.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, Daniel, and as I said before, everything's moving at a very great speed. I mean, we haven't even mentioned what's been going on with SAFEnetwork and MadeSafe for the last few weeks. I mean, they've been doing some interesting projects. Yeah. And do you want to expand on that more?
Well, yeah. So I think from what I gather is vaults are going to be ready they're going to be ready, obviously, but I think that the work has progressed directly into the vault creation, the ability for us, the people, to host the network. So it's quite momentous for all of us. The fact that right now it's pretty much the test net. It's pretty much the test net that hosted by MadeSafe. So with these vaults, we'll be able to download these vaults and host that network now. So it's momentous. Like, it's, in my opinion, it becomes the real deal in terms of, there's no going back anymore. It's now in the hands of the people. You see what I mean? It's while the launcher made life different, the vaulting, the ability for people to host the vaults is like, then if we started at 2, this becomes the 4. It's exponential. We go 2 to the second, and we go up. to the 4. And I think when we start to deploy these applications, we go 2 to the 8th, 2 to the 2nd, 2 to the 3rd. We hit 8, we go 2 to the 4th. You see, and so on, and it just snowballs. We'll be at an exponential, an exponential rate of innovation to the universe, and we just need to be diligent and demonstrate the benefits of these things that we build. We need to demonstrate a realistic idea and a real action from those benefits. Realistic demonstration of the benefits that we've identified within the SAFE network. You see, and that's the most exciting part of it, is seeing the look on people's faces when they are getting success from the, like they're experiencing less friction. They are getting more content that they were looking for, things like that. You know what I mean? Like SoundCloud and the existing feature, the existing services, they have features that people demand, but the benefits for the producers and the benefits for the consumers, they're not quite there. And you could tell because SoundCloud will be out of business because they have a sunken cost, an extraordinary cost, and the benefits to consumers is not so good. SAFEnetwork, obviates the costs for a centralized service, so we no longer have to worry about this centralized service, and we deal with just producing the best benefit for the people, and that's the difference between what we're working on here and what the status quo is in terms of music and in terms of radio and things like Pandora and things like SoundCloud and stock exchanges and Poloniex. Like all these services are centralized and middlemanned, and we pretty much we pretty much factor out the middleman, give the greatest benefit that we could identify, and let the world consume it because it's better for people. Yeah. Hey, Imhotep, how you doing, doctor?
How are you, brother?
I'm good. I'm doing really good.
Well, you know what? Seems like my cell phone works better than all my computers.
Is that right? Yeah. Well, they make those cell phones really good these days. Like you could even use them for.
Putting me to the moon on this.
What?
The power on the cell phone is more than the moon
lander. Yeah, the Apollo 11. That's true.
Thank you for this insight, because what you're really saying is, let's get rid of the pimp and hoe tech world.
It's true. It's true.
That's what I like about you, Daniel. You're one of the fairest people I've ever met.
Wow. Thank you for the compliment. And in my life, like when I was younger, I would always try to seek out, working for, quote unquote, the man. But then I realized, like, I have a skill set. I hone up that skill set, and I wanna give it fairly to others. You know what I mean? Like I wanna have a maximum impact for all people, not just one employer. You know what I mean? So I think I like to just be out with that. Yeah.
I was thinking about you today. I was saying Daniel is like the Einstein of cryptocurrencies.
Wow. I could think of a few people who I would put them above me, of course. But yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Well, before I met you, Daniel, it was like I've been in the software industry since like 1998.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I didn't meet many people that wanted to share anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's always like, okay, I'm starting, and everybody else is serfs.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would even say Tim here inspired a lot of that. Like, you remember when we discovered the MateSafe, it was pretty much, we almost did that together. Like, remember I went to the meetup, learned about it, and then I come, we hang out, and I'm reporting it, and I'm like, yeah, this MateSafe is like, I mean, the cryptocurrency world is big. Not big in terms of like, it's big because it's important. And then remember when we found out about MateSafe, it's even the most important thing, and there's nothing else to be paying attention to because it lets us do that sharing. It lets us share, and it promotes further sharing. And in the terms of resources, it's not like just share so that you have nothing at the end. It's a mutual share. It's like mutual respect. I mean, that was what drew us right over to that SAFEnetwork. So like, obviously, like we identify with that, right? So I feel like a lot of people identify with that, and that's where we discovered like an N99 concept. Like, I mean, to distribute, like to all the people. Tim used to say something like this. I hope it's okay if I'm quoting you, Tim. But you said something like, what is someone gonna do with if you got 1% of Twitter, that's like already too much for one person to be responsible for. So it's like, why not figure out a way to share with everybody who puts into that? Like Twitter, we all put our tweets out, and Twitter has the benefit, right? And like all the people get the benefit, but Twitter pretty much owns us, and they pseudo own us because they put their promotions right in the middle of our tweets and stuff, and to be honest, it's kind of annoying. But like, you go on Twitter and you see your friends put something you wanted to read, and then you accidentally refresh, and then they give you all the promotions, and where are the tweets that your friends put, right? I don't know if you guys ever had that experience, but I get that every time I go on Twitter. So it's like, I mean, like, to be honest, I don't really want Twitter to own the whole Twitter. Like, I want to see the tweets of my friends. I want that service. I don't really want to divulge my whole life to into Twitter. And Twitter has to do that because they need to fund their server somehow. So like, all these things they bring us out of that central, shackled, controlling situation where now it's like you get like how to say, like I forgot what that's called, like those metal balls, you can pull them and then you let it go and then it bounces on the other end and then it comes back and bounces on the other end and just perpetuates. So that's like SAFEnetwork to me. It's like that's how I see the systems we build. It's like, all right, you put some content and then it bounces the other way and it comes back to you. It's like just keeps, So I think it makes sense. I think it's natural. I think it's very natural. And like the server model is like a modern slavery or something, where like you're shackled to the master server, right? Just yeah.
I'm in agreement, and
Yeah.
I think the time that we joined forces, I was looking for that. Somebody with a sense of fairness.
Yeah.
Spotify isn't fair.
Yeah. Likewise.
It's a joke.
Code heroes.
No, I was gonna say, Daniel. In essence, what you've already described is, actually, that's why I called it seeds, because the idea of that is the very thing that drove me closer to the SAFEnetwork, was the idea that you would put something in, like you said, and it's this perpetual ocean that's going round and around and around. And that's what, as I've always said, it's with nature rather than against nature, because everything we have at the moment, if you take in a natural perspective, look at all the farming we do everything in straight lines. We build our building in straight lines, and yet you don't see straight lines in nature. And it's exactly the same with the internet. This whole as I always said before, and I know my brother Imhotep will vouch me up on this, we're old enough to remember when the concept of an internet was supposed to be no more middlemen. And suddenly look at where we are now. And it's the same idea that we're all, there's nothing new under the sun. All the people that have been grafting away at Made Safe, it's just basically an idea that should have never been corrupted in the first place. And all they're doing is basically doing what is needed and necessary. Because that's how it should have been. As I was saying, I'm sure Imhotep will back me up on this. This is how it was promised to us in the 90s. This is what it was all supposed to be about. This whole no middlemen connection and stuff, and along came all these centralized servers. And this time round, that's the beauty of the Safe network. There is no centralized servers. It is just a completely autonomous, self-operating, network. And that is what, as I said before, that was what was promised in the 90s. But it's taken us till 2016 to get here. I'm sure Imhotep, would you back me up on that?
I will back you up 100, because we're waiting for people like Daniel to be born to come from other universes. The Atlantean, I call them, it's the indigo babies. The star children to come, like my sons. I got 4 sons: Nico, Noah, Kareem, and Kemet. And Kemet, he started Ruby on Rails. I pushed him to do that when he was 4 and a half, and he had no problem making data arrays. So we're waiting. The planet is waiting on other beings like Daniel, etc., to come on the planet and to bring law. Because these people, like you said, in the 90s, everybody was idealistic. And like I tell Daniel all the time, this stuff is time travel. We're going back to the 90s again and get it right.
Yeah. Yeah, and not without the help of giants. You understand? That's you guys, David Irvine. There's so many people, who made it happen, like cypherpunks. Imhotep, you should know about cypherpunks, right? From San Francisco, the Bay Area. The guys, they made encryption legal and stuff. They fought for that. And you're right, it's a total time portal because we got the internet 20 years ago, and here we are 20 years later, and they, whoever they are who keep perpetuating the server model, it's like you have no choice, right? And it's without these giants, like you guys and for example David Irvine, who's gonna say, hey, there's something not right here, because even David Irvine could have kept making servers, and kept, building more centralized servers and trying to make better centralized servers, but instead he swapped the paradigm, kind of swapped the books, and it's like, now read this instead. And then, that's what happened to me. It struck me. I'm like, this is it. This is the way it's meant to be. And I think it takes a certain element of purity to approach that, because, for example, myself, I didn't have any experience in building servers for others. I built just automated robots, applications, and stuff like that. And then to now get into a server understanding, whereas it's at the time of the decentralization. It's like a new era. The people will be in control of themselves and have security. So I think that this fact that people will be secure personally and their data, I think it'll transfer into a personal security as well. I think that the minds of the Earth, there's 7.7 billion people on the Earth, and they're all compromised for the most part on their data level. If they wanted to interact on the data level, to interact on to even have this conversation is compromised, right? By some centralized party that has an interest in stealing our lives from us that we do digitally. And so I think the people who don't even have access to internet yet are also compromised even before they did. So that's why it's so important that the decentralization movement is preserved and is expanded more in the direction of decentralization. When we look at like Bitcoin, we look at Ethereum's, they are, they are lauding the Microsofts, they are lauding centralization, all in the name of a short-term gains. Like all in the name of having some authority of a past world that is meaningless to us these days, that ought to be meaningless to us anymore, because Microsoft operating system could be replaced with Ubuntu for free. A Macintosh computer can be made less expensive with Ubuntu for free. So it just doesn't make sense the way things have been going in the past. And I think some very violent and powerful groups have violently and powerfully maintained the status quo. And I think it's time. I think it's time that these faults get out to the world. People can host a SAFEnetwork, and these applications, which it's not, when you download N99 or you download SafeExchange or you download the decentralized forum, you go into a place that you're not subscribing to a service. You're subscribing to what you want to do with other people who also want to do something with you there, right? Like when you use these apps, you're not saying, okay, I'm using that and my allegiance is to that server, right? Because when you take a service that has a centralized server, you pledge your allegiance to the server. You don't
attitudes that go with it.
Yeah. So that's what we're changing here. We're pledging our allegiance to each other, right? The people who we want to interact with. If you want to trade, you use SafeX to interact with other people who want to trade with you, right? When you want to listen to music, you're interacting not with SoundCloud's service and its server, you're interacting with the artists. You're interacting with other consumers of that content. It's a huge difference in understanding. It's a huge difference in presentation. The world is changing for this. That's for sure. That's for sure.
It's the point you make there so eruditely there, Daniel, is you're right. It is changing, but the thing about even my lifetime, I've managed to live around the world. And I've been fortunate to live places. The attitude that you've spoken about, the paradigm we live in isn't really shared by a great deal of many people out there. And the paradigm what you just mentioned as well, the idea of where people can be directly their status or their everything with no middlemen. It's like the whole free market, like everything's supposed to be. No middlemen, then we can really judge what is a good product because people have freely chosen to, reward other people over other people. But the point I'm making is this whole paradigm we've lived in is only maybe 200-300 years old. You go back to any of the civilizations and cultures, and anywhere right now that isn't under the auspices of this kind of, they understand this completely. This idea of free trade and of no barriers and rewarding people that do your jobs. That's how we, if we get down to it being real, that's how we got to here, because it was the people that innovated that pushed us to this point. And it's that you only get to that innovation if you reward the people that are innovating, and that's how the people, like you said, Daniel, the central service, the Twitters, the SoundClouds, and all that, they're not some evil power that's sitting up there trying to mess with us. Or it's more of a case of they're greedy and they're trying to put a barrier between themselves. And we don't.
On that note, I want to give a huge support to that. Is like, people will want to become a billionaire, right? It's a huge promoted idea to be a billionaire. But the thing is, how do you know what it's like to be a billionaire if you've never been one before, right? And then like, if you've lived inside the life of a billionaire, you would see, and you would know exactly what kind of life it isn't. And it's not like that's exactly what you might aspire to that, and then realize, wow, that's not exactly what I expected. And my hair is gray and it's falling out, and I'm only 35, imagine that. it's like, and then you pretty much enslave yourself to your wealth, and you're gonna wish you never were one, you know? And it's like, how do you do that? You let down so many people.
Already.
Yeah. What?
As you're a billionaire from day one.
It's from birth that we inherit the earth, right? And people try to encumber us. So like, when it comes down to it, like the point is, people ought to have a good life, right? Not an encumbered life or an enslaved life in any way, any shape or form, to any server, to any service of any kind. And like, that's the thing. In the paradigm of the SAFE network, you choose who is with you. You get to choose. Someone betrays your trust, you can opt out of that relationship at ease. Whereas on the current service, you really can't, because you're in the same server, right? You're in the same you're tied to the same service. That service, let's say SoundCloud goes down, all your music is gone, all your work and all your impact to the world, all the good feelings that you presented to the people is gone. You know, all the impact people shared with you is gone. So what do you do with that? Like, humans require this decentralized database of our lives, where we're in control of all of it. It's a requirement. It's a total requirement. And it's exciting because it's on the brink. You know, I remember last year I was saying it's on the brink. Before we converted to the Rust language, I say when the MadeSafe team, David Irvine, prototyped the Rust, and it went 1.0. Rust went 1.0.
I was so shocked.
Yeah, but remember, Rust went 1.0 in May at the Mozilla place in right there on the bay. You know, so that's what it is. Like, everything is right on time. The most powerful type-safe language on the earth today, Rust, comes out right on time. You know, and we're only 1 year later in this implementation, and it's coming out. I mean, like, it is for real coming out.
Amazing. And then like, you pick Russ up so fast by example.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm very glad. I'm very glad to be a programmer in this day and age. I'm very glad that I can maximize my impact to the people. And I'm very grateful for potatoes, you know, and for.
I also want to say the hemp community and the medical cannabis community thanks the programmers and programmers like you, just because you're freeing people up so they can get their medications. And you know that you've got that kind of ability, and you know your openness to be on the cutting edge is commended.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's always I'm saying that's always been one of the inspirations behind what this whole journey for me, particularly. I speak for, you know, being a creative person. It's given this ability for the first time for this to happen. All right, we got the tools we are right now. We're working through Google and all the things. Well, okay, they're not the best of tools, but man, this is the first time that we're going to be able to connect the people like Dan, the programmers and the technical people with the musicians, and this is what's.
Yeah.
This is why I think it's really not too strong a word to say. This is a real paradigm shift, because I've always equated this, and I'm a geek of history, and the Great Enlightenment, say like in Europe, happened was when deliberately free association was allowed to happen. They'd have town meetings, and they'd get in the engineers, and they would talk to the artists and the poets and the musicians, and they'd all have this free discussion, and then they'd all go away, and they'd all inspire each other, and that was what brought the last Enlightenment in Europe. And it's taken. I think we're coming out of the Dark Ages, and this is the moment. And people say to me, "Oh, when are we going to come out of the Dark Ages?" I'm like, "We're out of the Dark Ages. This is it. This is a renaissance going on right around us right now."
Yeah, when I was in high school, that was my favorite favorite part of study, like the Enlightenment period. It was very exciting to me, and I get the same feelings with this. You know, it's like we're in this new world where it's like the artists, you know, because there's so many people on the earth that I feel like what I'm trying to say, there's enough people on the earth where all the bases are covered, you know? So people now can freely express themselves if that's what they want, you know, with artwork, with music, with codes, with all kinds of feeling-based things, and then, you know, as that inspires other people, like obviously I listen to music when I write codes. While I invent things, I'm listening to music. Those artists inspire me. You know, I owe it to them. I even owe it to them that, you know, I can hear what they made in the first place. I think there's a classical composer in South America, Antonio Barrios Mangor, right? And he never recorded any of his classical works, and people, they liked it so much, but this guy had no means of recording it really, you see. So, you know, people, and it's probably one of the greatest composers on a guitar in the world that ever lived so far, and so it's like, how do I get to hear it? Because some person stole some of the sheet music, some of the few sheet music that existed, and they replay it. You know, modern artists replay it, and now I could hear it. So, like, I would never be able to get that inspiration without, you know, without someone not stealing the sheet music, but if only he could record it and preserve it in the library of the SAFEnetwork, and somehow I can become made aware of that track, made aware of that composition, right? So that's the importance, is that people can own it. That was another thing in the historic recollection of this man's life. The classical composer was he loved to share his music as playing it, but he never wanted to commercialize it. He wanted to live a normal life, play music, but never sell his music per se. Wanted to just live his life, play the music, but not commercially dominate with that music, and that's why he didn't. You know, people couldn't, you know, buy his vinyl, right? And so if he could share it and still own it, that was the thing. If he could share it and own it and have some kind of more control over his own creation and how people can interact with it, then it would make a huge difference. Maybe this track, he could present it, all of his musics, that no one can buy them and own them. They can only have them directly, right? And he would still get his bread and butter, and he can keep making these music that gives him a reason to live. So that's the whole point. It's like, you know, he won't have to do a third job to keep making beautiful music. How can you make beautiful music when you're busy working flipping burgers or something, right? So that's the point. It's like, that's the point, so that the artist can make the music and still be okay and still make the music. It's not a shame. It's very important for the world. It's very important for the people.
The music can make the artist, because the energy that you know, I'm a software developer, but I don't code very well. So just having the music, you can hear it, and you're that's what you do all the time, but we're the same being.
Yeah.
Because just like the Borg, we're part of the same. We're going the same direction of time and space. So your power and my power are aligned in this dimension.
That's true. That's true. And but that's not to say when you communicate ideas of code, and for example, I'm on top of the latest technologies, and when you communicate to me, you tap into these ideas, and I can communicate them to the computer, and they return you what you look for. So, like we were discussing earlier in the when we got into this conversation, it's like the ball goes here, the energy transfers, pops up here, comes back, and it just like that. Just this is the safe network. This is the apps that will succeed on the safe network operate like this. Yeah.
Exactly, and I think that's just a really inspiring part of where we are in this current moment in time. Is that anybody, and I mean anybody, can stand up right now and with minimum, as I said before, with their fingers, with their mind, can tap a few keyboard strokes and manifest anything they like physically through that. And the great thing about the Safe Network is it gives people the ability to join in and do this. And that like you just said, Daniel, that whole shared commonwealth of where you can add to the commonwealth of human knowledge is a big, that's the paradigm shift that we've got in our hands alone. Because like you said, I mean, up to this moment, everything has always been reliant on paper getting burnt and other things getting lost. We know all the benefits of the Safe Network has for that end of things, but equally, like you said now, like you mentioned earlier before, I mean, you said it in passing, and I think it's something it's quite relevant to people to remember, that everything they put up on any of their platforms, maybe it's, and I don't do Twitter, Facebook, it doesn't really matter what we can name, we can make it's all of them, that they ultimately own the piece of work you have. For instance, that's what I'm saying. So, for instance, Twitter can use your account to advertise their product. Now, this isn't an implicit thing that we should never have. Now, that was what I think is really great about where we got tricked. I mean, this was never, as I said, trying to mention earlier, this was never supposed to happen, this whole barrier thing. And the great thing about what we're about to enter now is it means anybody can shape it. And that's what's really inspiring to me at the moment, is that you don't need these discussions and where you are right now. Okay, there's a lot of technicalities, but we're entering a world where anybody, like Imhotep was mentioning, whether his sons, whether anybody from age 8 to 80, if they've got an idea, then there's going to be platforms, and the Safe Network and the whole of that it brings gives you the ability to go out there and see what people think of it without any middlemen, without any. You've got to go and crawl to a record company to say, "Oh, please, sir, can I have a record company deal?" Or, "Please, sir, can I have an artist gallery? Can I borrow your gallery for a month?" And none of that. You just go out to the world and it's just down to you. Now that's scary. I remember Imhotep used a great example. I love to use the example that Imhotep used to me in a podcast. He said, where life is like being thrown out of a plane, and then the parachute is chucked afterwards, thrown out afterwards, and your mission is to get that parachute and make a soft landing. And that's exactly what the essence of where the Safe Network can be both scary but very, very inspiring and motivating for people who it's both ways. But that's in essence is life itself.
Yeah,
I think it's the matrix, but it's the matrix that we want. It's the positive matrix. It's going to be like, instead of being a slave, you can be an avatar.
Yeah. The thing about the matrix is, like, they don't show what happens in Zion when they make the peace with the machines. You know what I mean? You don't have to be a slave to the machines, right? That's pretty much what we are right now. We're slaves to the machines. They take our data, harvest it. Of course, we go about our business, but the machines kind of, if the machines go down, we go down. In the matrix, if the machines go down, everybody's hooked up to the virtual reality of the machine world. What happens? People would be helpless. They can't survive. So what I'm saying is, like, we need peace between the machines, and the machines need to understand our needs. And I think that the perpetuity of the server model is a result of just some bad decisions, of perpetuated bad decisions. And you see in politics, they are attempting to perpetuate this client model, the server model rather, the centralized server, and they are attempting to politically justify the activities of of harvesting our digital lives. And on the contrary, that's what we work towards. Not against, but complete in the opposite direction of the server model, where, like we were saying, is human to human, not human to machine, machine to human, right? Because we literally are dealing with the machine all the time, and it's finished. It's time to relinquish that machine element to it, and make the machines our tools rather than us tools of the machine. That's for sure.
Well, we've got to have our AI like completely ultras, encrypted to protect us and have the final say on these machines. We don't have that right now.
Yeah, and that's coming. That's coming with the vaults. Like right now, it's amazing to think right now at this moment, the Safe Network is operating on a DigitalOcean servers hosted by MadeSafe. Right now, it's like that's the encrypted AI that you speak of, Doctor. It's literally alive as we speak. It's like incubating, like a child in a womb. When we get the vaults, it's pretty much going to be born, and then it'll just grow from there, literally. So
To the end of time.
till the end of time, till while computers continue to exist.
See, and this is, well, in essence, this is, go on, sorry, good doctor. After you.
I was saying that the minute I met that Daniel was put into my universe, I saw ahead in time to this point.
Yeah, you've made quite a few statements in our lives that have been beyond accuracy. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna mention on that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to mention on that very essence, Daniel, about on what you were both just discussing. Then it's the element of being a live, decentralized database. That's the big element of it all, because it's as I said before. Nature, in essence, is a live, decentralized database. Our lives are, our consciousness it's all live, it's all chaotic, and we've just tried to, as human beings, just try to always put our ego and put controls over things. And the live, decentralized database is basically us retuning or following, as I said before, with nature rather than going against it, because nature is decentralized. Ants. When we talk about ants, look at an ants colony. It's completely decentralized, and that's what nature does. That's what the birds do. That's what fish do. That's what nature does. And all we're doing is finally getting to the point of going, instead of just fighting nature, can't we just learn from nature and copy and learn from that, make that as a great innovation of our tools to go forward? And that's, as you said before, Daniel, this has been something that has been a long time from like like you said before, that the shoulders of this flame has been carried through my generation, through people like David Irwin, now onto yours, and that's the whole element of it all. It's because it will always get through, and I think that's the element that I'm trying to allude to, is that this is eventually going to happen, and it always will do. Whether it happens in right now, this could all one way or the other, but it will always happen, because eventually we are nothing but nature. We're nothing but out of this, of the universe itself, and this is how the universe works. It works on a decentralized work. There isn't, and that's the thing. We're that's why I say it's the enlightenment, because we're as was backing them, we're basically looking at nature as an inspiration. That's one of the things that drove me completely towards MadeSafe, was the idea when they started talking about how the decentralized database, and I was just thinking, that's exactly what I've always seen in nature, and that's what's inspired me from day one about MadeSafe.
Right.
Well, I mean, let's just, Daniel. I mean, particularly, is there anything particular we kind of like tonight? We've given it's been we've kind of dropped a lot of information. We talked about an N99 seed sale coming up. We've spoken about the SafeX development. We talked about MaidSafe. We talked about the Safe Network. So, I mean, is there anything particular before we wrap this up that either two of you, you Dr. Imhotep or you Daniel, would like to sort of raise topics before we close this up?
I think I just want to focus on the topic of like MaidSafe becoming like, for me, the new alchemy, and being able to change, the lead and the wires into the gold and the next consciousness. And I want to thank Daniel and for the commitment that I've seen him make, for the last 2 years. And I just think we need to really just keep visualizing the freedom that MaidSafe gives us in every level. I know as far as like the medical community and cannabis community, MaidSafe is just like a powerful beacon of freedom that we're going to use to like go to the next level and just take everybody up.
Yeah, for sure. And thanks to you, doctor. And in terms of topics, I think I'm ready to get back to work, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
Well, as ever, it's been a very insightful discussion. I want to thank you, Dr. Imhotep, for making the time, and you, Daniel, for breaking your time. Because as I say, we know we've got a lot on our plates at the moment. A lot of we're juggling a lot of balls and a lot of hard graft is going on. So I want to thank you both for giving your time tonight. It's been a very insightful conversation. Like I said, I recommend people go on, as I always say before, go to the SafeNet forum to keep up developments, what's going on with the Safe Network. For what's going on with the SafeX, go to SafeX, Safe Exchange to find out what's going on with the Safe Exchange developments. And this week on both of those platforms, we will be telling more details about N99 seed sale. And as I say, feel free to contact Eva. I know Daniel feels exactly the same way. If you want to contact him, he's open and approachable. If you want to contact Dr. Imhotep, you can contact him on the various so and myself as well. With all these projects, if you're out there and you're listening, my kind of call to you is, get involved, and anybody can get involved and come and shape it and come and get involved in this, because that's what I'm saying. These are the greatest days to live in. And well, from me over here in Scotland, I want to say good night, and life is people.
Thank you, Tim. Night.